Want to speak real Czech from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at czechclass101.com.
In this lesson, you are going to learn a very useful phrase. Do you speak English? If you find yourself in a situation where you need assistance in English, this phrase can be a lifesaver. And because you're asking it in Czech, you can be sure that everyone will understand what you are saying, even if their answer is no. Here's the informal way to say it. Mluvíš anglicky? Mluvíš anglicky? In Czech, verbs change depending on the person that they refer to. The first word is the verb mluvíš, which means to speak. Because it is referring to the second person, you, it is conjugated to mluvíš. And you probably recognize anglicky to be English, though anglicky is not a noun but an adverb. Mluvíš anglicky? We're now going to make this sentence formal. The person which the verb refers to is going to change to the formal version of you. Because of this, the verb will be conjugated differently. It becomes mluvíte instead of mluvíš, like in the informal version. Everything else stays the same. Mluvíte anglicky? Mluvíte anglicky? If you add promiňte, excuse me, the sentence becomes even more polite. Promiňte, mluvíte anglicky? Promiňte, mluvíte anglicky? The responses you will receive could be one of these three. Ano, yes, ano. Trochu, a little. Trochu. Ne, nemluvím anglicky. No, I don't speak English. Ne, nemluvím anglicky. Since this last one is a negative statement, we need to attach ne to the verb mluvit. Notice also that the form mluvím is slightly different than mluvit. Remember, the verb changes depending on the person it refers to. We are now talking about ourselves. Thus, I do not speak is nemluvím. Now it's time for Veronica's insights. For those of you who are not only English speakers, you can obviously use this question with any language you need. Czech people study other European languages at school, so maybe you will get lucky. Just substitute anglicky with italsky for Italian, rusky for Russian, španělsky for Spanish, francouzsky for French, and so on. In this lesson, you are going to learn how to introduce yourself in Czech. You'll start speaking right away, but first, it's important to clarify that in Czech, there is a difference between the formal and the informal language. Let's first see how Czech people introduce themselves in an informal situation. Ahoj, já jsem Veronika. Ráda tě poznávám. Hi, I'm Veronika. Nice to meet you. Ahoj, já jsem Veronika. Ráda tě poznávám. For males, the form of ráda changes to rád. Ahoj, já jsem Petr. Rád tě poznávám. Hi, I'm Petr. Nice to meet you. Ahoj, já jsem Petr. Rád tě poznávám. Start by saying ahoj, já jsem. Then say your name. Ahoj, já jsem Veronika. Finally say ráda tě poznávám if you are a female or rád tě poznávám if you are a male. Ahoj, já jsem Veronika. Ráda tě poznávám. Ahoj, já jsem Petr. Rád tě poznávám. And now let's see the same sentence in formal speech. Dobrý den, já jsem Veronika Nová. Ráda vás poznávám. Good day, I'm Veronika Nová. Nice to meet you. Dobrý den. Já jsem Veronika Nová. Ráda vás poznávám. And again, the form of ráda changes to rád for males. Dobrý den. Já jsem Petr Nový. Rád vás poznávám. Hi, I'm Petr Nový. Nice to meet you. Dobrý den. Já jsem Petr Nový. Rád Vás poznávám. So what has changed from the previous introduction? Let's take a close look at these expressions together. Ahoj has been substituted with the formal greeting Dobrý den, Czech for good day. Já jsem Veronika has not been changed. Já jsem simply means I am. However, during a formal self-introduction, we also say our last name. So I said Veronika Nová. Here you would say your full name. Finally, pay attention to the ending. We went from tě poznávám to vás poznávám. What changes is the Czech word for you in the accusative case. In a formal sentence, we use the more polite word vás. One more time, the informal way to introduce yourself in Czech is Ahoj, já jsem Veronika. Ráda tě poznávám, for females. And Ahoj, já jsem Petr. Rád tě poznávám, for males. The formal way to introduce yourself is Dobrý den, já jsem Veronika Nová. Ráda vás poznávám, for females. And Dobrý den, já jsem Petr Nový. Rád vás poznávám, for males.
Want to speak real Czech from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at czechclass101.com.
In this lesson, you'll learn 3 different ways to say it. Let's start with the easiest one.
Děkuji. Děkuji.
Another way to say thank you is
Díky. Díky.
Finally, here's a third way to express your gratitude.
Mnohokrát vám děkuji. Mnohokrát vám děkuji.
Okay, let's wrap up this lesson by recapping what we've learned.
Děkuji. Děkuji. Díky. Díky. Mnohokrát vám děkuji. Mnohokrát vám děkuji.
In this lesson, you'll learn 3 different ways to say it. Let's start with how to express your feelings to your loved one.
Miluji tě. Miluji tě. Miluji tě.
Or if you want to explain those butterflies in your stomach, you can say,
Zamiloval jsem se do tebe. Zamiloval jsem se do tebe. Zamiloval jsem se do tebe.
and when you feel that I love you is not enough, you can say,
Mou lásku k tobě nelze vyjádřit slovy. Mou lásku k tobě nelze vyjádřit slovy. Mou lásku k tobě nelze vyjádřit slovy.
If you want to learn a language but don't have a lot of time to dedicate to the endeavor, you need to study as efficiently as possible. You probably aren't a language learning expert or a world traveler. You might have school or a job or two. So in this video, we'll give you 3 ways to help you learn language more efficiently so that you get the most out of your time and effort. Number 1, use your time when you have it. The most valuable resource you have as a language learner is time. While you may not have to spend money to learn a language, you will have to spend time. Hours and minutes are a currency that you trade on a weekly basis to grow in your language learning. Language learning is probably a priority for you. It might not be the number 1 priority, like keeping your job or taking care of your family, but it does have to be important enough for you to invest significant amounts of time into your learning. There's just no way around it. That being said, use your time wisely. Because of previous commitments, you can quickly fall into the trap of putting your language learning off, thinking, oh, I'll do it next week, or Saturday, I'll do it Saturday. Needless to say, a few weeks can go by and you haven't really learned or practiced anything. If you find that happening, then take some time and reevaluate your approach. It's probably a long shot for you to be able to spend hours every day learning a new foreign language, but you can use your time to spend an hour or even just 10 minutes a day, every day, studying or practicing. If you're on a busy schedule, an hour a day can sound like reaching for the stars, so start slowly with just a 5-minute lesson. Over time, as you learn more and it becomes more routine, you'll want to spend more time studying. And your studying doesn't even need to be all at once. Make use of the little gaps of time you have in the day. Listen to a podcast while driving to and from work. Review new words while on lunch break or right before bed. Even a quick review while in line at the store or waiting for the bus. Together, these moments add up. This way, your little study session will add up to around 60 minutes of practice every day. You'll quickly be able to see significant improvement in your language abilities. Number 2, don't method jump. When you're new to language learning, there's a temptation to try out the newest course, app, or method. There are more language learning tools and courses than I can list. But jumping around from podcast to podcast or from textbook to textbook can really hinder your learning process. It's important to find the best method for you, but when you do, stick with it. Don't get distracted by the newest app, or if you suddenly find something faster, cheaper, claiming it can teach you a language with no work on your part. Stick with your learning course or tool. Consistent practice over a period of time is what is essential for language learning. If you hit a bump or plateau, you might be tempted to think, maybe there's a faster or better way to learn. So you search around and buy the next best language learning tool, only to use it for a couple weeks and realize it wasn't really any better than the last course you tried, and the same difficulties you had are still there. If you're learning your first new language and you pick a specific method or course, we suggest you stick with it for at least 3 to 4 months. You actually hurt yourself in the long run if you constantly switch between resources because you never give yourself the opportunity to progress. Number 3, focus on one thing at a time. When you decide to learn a new language, you're going to be really excited. You have all your resources lined up, a plan in place, and you're ready to go. You think you'll spend 3 to 4 hours a day practicing and that you'll be fluent in no time, but that's only for about 3 days. Then you probably will get a little bit discouraged and avoid it for another 3 days. And this process might repeat 3 or 4 times before you realize that you might be approaching things the wrong way. You can't devour a whole new language in a very short time. You'll burn out immediately. It's better to focus on one small part of the language at a time, either a specific grammar point or a specific vocabulary topic. In the beginning, these should be based on the parts of the language you'll use right away. Even in the business world, research shows that replacing less important tasks with ones that add value and help you reach your goals is the best way to get the most out of your time. As you advance through the language and your level increases, try to pinpoint the harder aspects of the language and work on them one at a time. Learning a foreign language isn't easy. It takes time and work, but it is possible. If you stick to your learning plans and stay focused, you will see improvement in your skills and find satisfaction in using the language. Remember that learning a language is really more like a journey. It doesn't have to feel like school or work. Savor your experience with learning and enjoy every step along the way. And for even more tips on learning efficiently, check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! Great work! Here's a reward. Speed up your language learning with our PDF lessons. Get all of our best PDF cheat sheets and ebooks for free. Just click the link in the description.